So the Ross LCS strengths, it combines switcher functionality, camera control, fully automated camera control, as well as graphics capabilities into one very easy to use graphical interface. One of the great things about working with Ross and their systems in general, but the LCS in particular, is we needed custom buttons, some custom interface added to it. And we have large display monitors in the council room that we want to display presentations or videos on, and we wanted to access those very quickly. So Ross worked with us in creating a special little interface inside the LCS interface that we can just push very quickly, quick keys to go and display different things out into our council chambers. As part of our system, we added in the talk show system from NewTek. And the talk show system uses Skype. So we have a Skype interface with our system, interfaces with the Carbonite switcher, and integrates seamlessly into our system where remote council members or remote interviews can take a pad, Skype in, and actively take part in the meeting as if they were there.
Through working with Ross and by utilizing their equipment, by utilizing their systems, that's the nuts and the bolts and the brain that ties it all together and makes all of this possible.
What makes NESN unique really is a combination of a national network type of structure like an ESPN or an ABC, a regional feel that you would have from any community that is broad-based fan base like the Red Sox or the Bruins nation of fans, and a local base that, while not a television station, does operate very much in its own community. So we've really got to do all three at the same time when we're reaching viewers. We've got to be local, regional, and national simultaneously, and that really makes our position in the marketplace, both in Boston and throughout the country, very unique. In the past 4 years, Forbes has listed us as one of the top 10 global brands in sports consistently, and I think that speaks a lot to what the NESN brand means in the sports world, but also in the media world throughout the globe.
As an organization, we always tend to be at the forefront of technology. We were the second regional sports network to go HD back in 2003. September of 2003, we broadcast our first Red Sox HD games. In 2004, we broadcast all home Red Sox games and began to broadcast Boston Bruins games in HD.
NESN over the past 3 or 4 years has grown very aggressive and ambitiously, adding 3 times the volume of news content. We've increased the number of hours we're doing pre and post game shows. So on the average day, we're live or live to tape from about 5 or 5:30 until about 1 in the morning. And that doesn't include morning programming and other things, but just in that span of time, we don't throw to someone else. We stay live. One of the great things about the Ross Expression system is that it does both virtual and traditional. So we have a traditional studio where Hall of Fame athletes perform things that you really need a traditional studio to do because they want to physically interact with different things on the set. But for our news programs and some of our specialty shows, we've been a long-time adopter, pioneer at one point, and now we're veterans in virtual and really kind of that hyper-real augmented reality virtual. And that, for us, was something that we wanted to do so that we could quickly switch to a different style or look, or change out what a sponsor wanted to see, really advance what we were offering as a network, not just to a consumer that was going to watch a show, but for our team partners, and for our sales clients, and any of the vendors that wanted to be a part of it.
The first product that we started off with was very engineering intensive. It was very difficult to operate and learn how to utilize that system on a day-by-day basis. So as we introduced new operators, it was difficult and took a long time to get their training up to where it needed to be. And at the same time, we were looking for a system that was a little bit more flexible to what we do.
We are making very good use of Overdrive with Acuity and Expression, both on the CG platform and UX with our virtual set.
With our virtual set here at NESN, we have 2 robotic cameras in the studio. And the great thing about a virtual set is that you can manipulate that set so that you're looking in a variety of different ways and different angles. And you can set up different shots using the same physical space. And what it really allows that flexibility is that the robotic camera system is controlled in the control room, but is able to be moved from the pan tilt perspective, but then also along the floor with the robotics. So those cameras can move anywhere within the studio space, and the tracking information is sent back to the expression systems and through UX so that the set is following along as those cameras are moving into their correct place. And what it also is awesome is that we are able to, prior to the live production starting, set up those spots and those shots in pre-production, and the virtual operator will move the set to where they want to be, the director will move the camera to where they need it to be in the physical space. We each have a preset that we save, and then the camera will go back to its main shot. And then when that shot comes up within the show that we need, we're both just hitting one button. The robotic camera is moving to its place, the virtual set is moving into the spot that we want, and then that shot that we were able to take a lot of time setting up prior to the show is now ready to go nice and quickly. We have confidence that when we get to that shot within the show, everything's gonna be where it needs to be.
With virtual, you can do things you couldn't even afford to do. We'd have to move into a different building to try to do what we're doing now with virtual in a much smaller space. It's not uncommon when you're thinking about virtual technology to ask somebody, well, how do I make that happen? And if they've got the equipment, are we just gonna go on the air the first day? The answer to that is no. If you want it to look real, you've got to put in the time. But that time is something that you do once and then you're done.
It's a big step to take to go to a virtual world where you may not be used to or not where you're in right now. You need to surround yourself with people that understand the technology, and that's what's really important. And Ross has those resources available that have enabled us and helped us along that way, because there's a lot of things that you don't realize when you haven't been in that world yet.
We found that Ross to really be an exceptional partner, not just because we know that they're going to answer questions, but they're going to come up with solutions for things that haven't been done yet. And as we look at trying to do things that are very unique and with virtual or automating a post-game show that no one had ever done before, what you start to hear around the country, at least we did, well, you can't do that. Nobody's ever done that. And maybe you should just do the graphics part. And what we found was that Ross helped us along the way in saying, no, technically you're capable of doing all these things. You may have to change the mindset or the workflow to fit it, but the technology's there to do it. And I think Ross encouraging us throughout the process, yep, we can do it, you can get there. That was great. The second was, at any point along the line, you're always gonna have a project get stuck. Something's gonna happen. And in our case, it was converting some of our graphics. We have so many different templates. So Ross came in to be part of that solution. And what you want really from a vendor is not just to sell you a system, walk away and provide some phone support. You want somebody who's gonna be there, A, to answer a question, but to some degree, B, to help you really innovate with what you're trying to do that's unique to your people, your building, your clients or customers that are going to be watching you, or people within the corporate environment that are going to say, what are you doing here? You may need Ross to help you with the answer to what are you doing here? When an executive, a CEO, a board is really wanting to see a certain type of result or a certain type of ROI, you can bring Ross into those conversations.
Esports is the idea of competitive players battling it out either in teams or individually, and they're competing for thousands of dollars of prize money. This can scale up from sort of $5,000, $10,000 right up to $1 million plus prize pool. It's an incredible industry, and it's actually something that's quite hidden from the general public.
ESL is the global leading company in esports. We do a lot of work with running tournaments online and offline and creating events around that, and most importantly, producing a huge amount of content for online streaming and productions for sports. ESL is over 20 years old now. Our headquarters still reside in Cologne, where it started, and it's now expanded out to over 15 offices around the world and studios.
First time that the UK has seen an esports studio of this scale, and what we want to do is bring the best esports content to our audience.
So the type of productions that we do here at ESL UK range quite radically. We do smaller productions where it's literally just two people talking to the camera and then showing sports, which are esports. And then we do events within the studio itself, which will have a full audience, which will have people playing on the stage, which will have commentators, which will have analysts, which will have a really large production value. And having the ability to be able to switch between having a larger crew, which we require for those larger shows, and then being able to have a smaller crew for the smaller shows, but being able to maintain that level of control and quality is something that Ross enables us to do.
I think the most interesting thing for me looking at Ross from a new perspective is how it both caters to traditional broadcast, as we know, it's the large part of the market works with Ross. However, they can come in and they can completely understand our requirements from an esports perspective, which is something that is still very new.
One of the biggest challenges for us was not necessarily being able to have the same level of crew that you would have on a traditional broadcast shoot. So not necessarily having a single graphics operator, a single vision mixer, a single director, a single sound operator. That's a challenge in its own right. How do you go about doing that without necessarily reverting to automation, having that level of control that you would have from a manual production? And one of the things that we found when we moved over to using Ross was that we could have that level of control, that level of creativity that you would have on a larger production with less staff and without having to use automation. In our productions, we have a range of skill sets from our production operators. We have people who are technically adept and people who aren't so technically adept. One of the nice things about the Carbonite Black desk, it enables operation on all levels. So if you need to use it in an advanced level, you can go ahead and do that. If you need to use it in a simple level, you can go ahead and do that. But the nice thing is it's very easy to transfer advanced operational procedures over to operators who don't necessarily know how to do that via dashboard. For us, dashboard is a very important part of the operation. Dashboard enables us to be able to do fairly complicated things, but not have to do complicated button pushes to do them. So we can have things like picture-in-picture on multiple games with multiple gamers at the same time, and just be able to record that with one single mouse click on dashboard. It's quite quick to program, very easy to do, and so something that an advanced vision mixer would do live, a not so advanced vision mixer can do just as easily with just a little bit of pre-production. Within dashboards, the ability to create custom panels gives us so much more power in operation. It enables us to integrate graphics system with our vision mixing desk, be able to recall graphics at the same time as recalling a macro. It enables us to do things that would require 2 or 3 operators to do normally with just one operator. So we can have the vision mix to cut at the same time a graphic is recorded, at the same time roll a VT, all happen at the same time simultaneously with one button click. We actually found that the dashboard was great because it didn't take long to make a dashboard, but we can create custom dashboards for each individual show. So rather than just have one panel that does one thing, we can have a panel for each individual show. And one of the other things that we use here at ESL UK is OpenGear. And OpenGear carries that tradition that we found with Ross, which is that interconnectivity via dashboard. So we can have a card within our OpenGear system, and that communicates automatically with Carbonite Black, with our graphics system, with our entire infrastructure through dashboard. So we don't have to go ahead and spend hours and hours and hours programming a card that goes in. We know we can get a card for OpenGear, put it in, and it will work within our infrastructure fairly quickly. We use Expression for all sorts of things, going from lower thirds to full screen graphics to dynamic graphics, which update literally on the fly. Expression for us has really been a game changer. Expression has all the features and functionality of really high-end graphic systems, but at a much lower price point and with the same flexibility and power, which has enabled us to have a really nice sheen to our productions. But there's one added bonus, because we've taken Expression across the company. Say, for example, in America, they produce a Halo show. They can send us a graphics file, literally over Dropbox or FTP or however they want to send it to us. And that can work on our system, it can work in Poland's system, it can work in Germany's system. There's that interchangeability, which is really quite powerful, but also the integration within Dashboard as well. Just being able to send dashboard files across the internet from each of our operations globally means that it's almost like we're not a global operation, almost like a micro village operation that's just spread across the world. There's always teething problems, but we found with Ross's support, a lot of those teething problems were made less horrible. One example is that we were having some unique problems with getting our Excel documents to communicate properly with Expression. That for us was a conundrum. We couldn't quite figure out how to do it. Ross, they remoted into our Expression machine, found the problem, and fixed it for us remotely. For us, that was great to have. That level of support was amazing.
Ross was really interesting to ESL because we work with so much digital content, that in the way of data feeds coming from the games, in terms of capturing digital footage, and obviously creating a production around that. So what we were really looking for was an extremely flexible system in which we were able to harness the power of the graphics, overlays and content being brought in from the game itself into a live TV production. So when we were looking at the market, Ross really stood out as being a flexible and dynamic company in order for us to try and figure out the best solution.
City of San Antonio, we're a municipal government, and our goals on the AV team very much align with the goals of the organization: transparency of government to citizens, educating the citizens, passing along information that's critical to them from their city government. So that's what we're really trying to accomplish here, the AV team as well as just the city generally. And there are many ways in which we go about doing that, one of which is through the televising of public meetings, specifically city council meetings. This gives our citizens the opportunity to tune in and see what our local government is doing on an ongoing basis. We have a city council chamber and a B-session meeting room that are both equipped with cameras and microphones, but one of the key components to accomplishing this mission of televising these public meetings is the Ross LCS system. This is what ties those two rooms together. It allows us to switch, it allows us to control all the different settings that we need to best televise these meetings.
The LCS is a very specialized system, and it is extremely easy to use. It's set up where you take a picture of your meeting, you set up chairs, you set up preset cameras. When somebody's turn to speak, you click on them, it gives you a preview, it gives you your program feed, and you can just switch with the touch of a button.
In the city council chamber, there are 8 cameras that we're controlling with the Ross system, and in the B-session meeting room, there are 5 cameras. So it's a pretty extensive system, and I've seen the way that other cities in Texas specifically handle their meetings, the equipment and software that they use, and this is by far above and beyond what most other cities are doing.
You can set it up to where it automates your lower thirds, your information. You're going back and forth between your slide presentations or videos that the council might bring in, or council aides. You can type in the information from the lower thirds, or information from the full screens can either come from a preset database, which you can create ahead of time, or they can be created on the fly pretty easily if surprises happen during a council meeting.
When it comes to these public meetings, there's a lot of moving parts. These are very complex systems, but what the technology from Ross allows us to do is be able to accomplish our goals with as minimal manpower as possible. So we have as few as 3 people running these meetings sometimes, whereas if we would have hired a production company to come in and accomplish the same thing that we're accomplishing, they might bring 5, 8, 10 people. These aren't easy things to accomplish in the world of television, and yet the technology, once again, that Ross has provided has allowed us to achieve our goal with the most minimum of resources.
We have a very small crew able to create large-scale live productions. We're able to send that out to our archive for the public record, send it out to our television stations, send it out to our live web stream, as well as send it just straight over to the closed circuit in City Hall. So the Ross LCS strengths, it combines switcher functionality, camera control, fully automated camera control, as well as graphics capabilities into one very easy to use graphical interface. One of the great things working with Ross and their systems in general, but the LCS in particular, is we needed custom buttons, some custom interface added to it. And we have large display monitors in the council room that we want to display presentations or videos on, and we wanted to access those very quickly. So Ross worked with us in creating a special little interface inside the LCS interface that we can just push very quickly, quick keys to go and display different things out into our council chambers. As part of our system, we added in the talk show system from NewTek. And the talk show system uses Skype. So we have a Skype interface with our system, interfaces with the Carbonite switcher, and integrates seamlessly into our system where remote council members or remote interviews can take a pad, Skype in, and actively take part in the meeting as if they were there.
Through working with Ross and by utilizing their equipment, by utilizing their systems, that's the nuts and the bolts and the brain that ties it all together and makes all of this possible.
So, welcome to the Ross NAB 2017 keynote. We're using Ross technology to produce this event, of course. So, our theme this year continues to be smart production. And at Ross, we're all about solving your creative, business, and technical challenges. And we have a new booth this year. It's kind of exciting. And we're showing complete systems of how all of our products work together. And of course, we have our knowledgeable staff. And we're going to show you everything that's new, but more importantly, to help you achieve your results. We actually do care about that. So, we like to keep the keynote moving, have a lot of energy. So let's get right to our first new product launch. This one's a lot of fun, and it's the next generation of a very successful Ross product. Let's go. All right. So here it is, the new Furio SE. It's a brand new Furio lift and dolly for what was already an amazing product. Hey Furio, come on over here. So, you're working here already? Ah, that's awesome. Now, your father, didn't he work at places like the BBC and CCTV China and some amazing entertainment shows? Yeah? All right. Don't let that go to your head though. So you're looking really good in carbon fiber, nicely dressed up. Yeah, you thought that too. Okay, good. Now, I've heard that, second generation's often taller than the previous one. Are you bigger than your dad? Show me. You're about as high as the last one was. Whoa. All right. That's pretty tall. I like that. So not only are you taller, I hear you're better in many ways. True? Okay. Thank you. I appreciate your help. So Furio Smart Evolution has over 40 improvements over the previous Furio. We're really excited about this introduction because you know what? Furio was already unmatched in the industry, so it's pretty cool to just go ahead and come out with the next one automatically. Let's take a look at the top 3 improvements. The first one is height. So this beautiful new carbon fiber lift is 21% taller and has 50% more vertical range. So obviously, that's going to give you more dramatic camera shots and far greater flexibility. Now, the next thing, speed. This new Furio lift goes up and down twice as fast, and its track speed is 33% faster. So that means you're going to be able to get between shots far more quickly than ever before. Some more creative freedom again. It's pretty fast. So finally, let's talk strength. The reworked, stronger lift design and the new head now take larger payloads and they provide smoother camera shots and even better tracking for virtual set and augmented realities. Pretty cool. And Furio is shipping now. In fact, customers are using it already. Our first customer, Sportsnet New York, they have a beautiful facility in Freedom Tower number 4 in downtown Manhattan, and I think they're pretty happy with it. So thank you get down here a little bit high. Okay, let's talk about CamBots now. So the 700XY has been the king of the castle of free roaming pedestals for a very long time, and it'll support close to 200 pounds. So lenses, prompters, cameras, all the gear you can throw on it, it performs really, really well. But you know what? We know that that's overkill for clients that are using lighter cameras and smaller budgets. So studios on those tight budgets right now, they tend to use a lot of pan tilt heads to get those shots. And they have to have a whole bunch of them because they're just basically in fixed positions. Having that many camera means you have compromises in camera and lens quality. and that affects your shot composition, and that litters your studio with all sorts of space and gear. So to help out with that, we're now introducing a new option. We're adding 2 more CAMBOT roaming PEDs. The first one is the CAMBOT 600XY-S3. And it has the same roaming base as the 700. It has the same industry-leading accuracy and the same 3-stage lift. Has a lower payload using the CAMBOT 600 head, but it still holds 125 pounds. The big thing though is, it comes in at 20% lower price. Next, we're also introducing the CAMBOT 600XY-S2. It's the same as the S3, but with a simpler 2-stage lift. And so we're trading off vertical range for cost. In this case, that's 33% less than the cost of the 700XY. And of course, with all of these and Furio, any Ross robotics can be combined in a system together. Now, these lower costs provide the benefits of full roaming PEDs to this category of customers. So instead of doing this, you can now have this. The cost is about the same. We've worked out the math. Problem solved. We're excited about that. A special benefit of using CAMBOTs as well is, again, tracking is standard for ARVS productions. No extra cost. And that's smart production. That's what we mean by that. Okay, on to our next topic. A major event since last year at NAB was our acquisition of Abacus. They're an iconic brand in the industry. We've always had a great relationship with them, and they fit right into the Ross product portfolio. So let's have a quick look at Abacus products. First one, air cleaner. The profanity elimination system, also wardrobe malfunction system. We're hoping that none of those things happen on the stage today. We also have the Mira system, Mira replay system, and the Mira video production server, and the Tria solid state server. Those are all now part of Ross. But meanwhile, the guys at Abacus have been busy. So we have a new Tria. So introducing the new Tria 2. Has more I/O options, same great price, shipping now. Really, really great production switcher or server that goes beside production switchers and things like that. We're also introducing Mira Media Connect. It has gigi networking for all Mira products. So you can play a clip on one server and then play it back on another server in real time. So this is free of charge for all Mira customers. And if you're a Mira customer and you have one, buy another and try it out. So now, I'd like to invite our Executive Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer, Jeff Moore, to take the stage to show you even more. Thank you. Good job.
Thanks, David. It is my pleasure to bring you up to speed on what's new with Expression, our amazing motion graphics platform. So last year, on this stage, we launched Expression Tessera. This is a multi-generation creation and playout system for seamless, large pixel count displays. And it's great for stadiums, like Mercedes-Benz Stadium in here behind me. They're just putting the touches on this stadium to launch for the new season of the Atlanta Falcons. So we're very excited about that. Now, stadiums are part of Expression's natural habitat. And check this out. Over the last year, we've done just a ton of stadiums. This is a few of the names that Expression is involved with. And we provide not just technology to these customers, but we also provide creative services. And we do that through Rocket Surgery, Ross's creative services arm. So let's have a quick glimpse at some of the work that Rocket Surgery has done over the past year. So obviously, Expression rocks sports venue production. But Expression is way, way more than that. Expression excels, and has for a long time, in news, entertainment, and sports broadcast production. So here are a few of our recent US customers. I want to talk a little bit about them. So the first one, ABC. This is network news in New York. They've converted all of their network news productions to Expression over the last couple of years. And that's a complete workflow, end-to-end, creative and editorial, and it includes our Streamline, our graphics asset management system. Here's the next one, NBC Stations Group. Across the country, top market local news. They're rolling out Expression right now across the group. CBS, they launched Late Night with Stephen Colbert on Expression, the new program. Turner Sports uses Expression across all their properties, TBS, TNT, NBA TV, and E-League, and they use it for everything from insert graphics to augmented reality. Expression is super flexible that way. Here's a new one. This is one you may not have heard of before. It's Vista WorldLink, and they just launched last month. They do large-scale remote production for sports. And they were the top story this past week in Sports Video Group's Friday Mail Blast. So remote sports production is all about having the cameras at the venue and all the rest of the technology back at home base. In their case, it's Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And with our technology, using Ross technology, they can do 16 simultaneous remote productions. That's pretty incredible. So it's a great service, and they've just gotten off the ground. Here's another one. You saw some of this in the opening credits. MDOT's Fantastics. They do a lot of work in Hollywood, in the LA area, top award shows and entertainment shows. So what do these organizations have in common? Well, they're very demanding, and they push us hard to make our products better, right? So that leads us to what's new with Expression this year. It's called version 7. And I like to jokingly call this our high maintenance customer release because it's added a lot of advanced features for the advanced requirements of our top users. Now the best part is that everybody that's got maintenance on Expression gets this update. So they get all those high-end features. So one of the key components in the Expression ecosystem is Streamline, our graphics asset management system. And here at the show, we're launching direct integration with AP Graphics Bank and MGN Online. These are popular services for stock news images. They're used all the time in news environments. So with our integration, we've got a plugin that's right in the NRCS system, the newsroom system, and it provides self-serve graphics for journalists for end-to-end workflow. It's drag and drop, so right from MGN Online, for example, you can drag and drop an image directly into an Expression template and everything happens. It really streamlines the workflow for news. Now, one of the other big things at the show is connectivity. So Expression, we've really focused on Expression connectivity, and as the world evolves, we're getting more and more requests for different types of connections on Expression. So here's what we're showing here at NAB. The first one, 12 gig support. So this is 12 gig SDI, and that gives us UHD on a single coax cable. This is great for UHD or 4K production. The next is IP. Now, Expression already had support for SMPTE 2022-6 and 7. At NAB, we're extending that to SMPTE 2110 support. The last one is interesting. It's really interesting, and maybe not something you're expecting from us. Tonight, we're announcing support for NewTek's NDI. This is video over IP, but it's compressed, so it works over standard GigE networks. This allows Expression customers to plug and play into the NDI ecosystem. That's very cool. So Expression is very flexible. It scales from base graphics all the way up to virtual sets. And Ross has long been involved with virtual sets. We're a leader in this technology. And
all right. Jeff,
Time for me to take over. You go and stand off to the side.
You're
I'm going
kidding
to
me.
talk about virtual. And
Okay,
here I am.
let's listen to this guy.
At Ross Video's Ottawa Technology Campus. I'm on our green screen. We built this into a standard office environment. Let's go to Vegas. So here we are in Las Vegas in our beautiful virtual set environment. Now, Ross has long been a leader in virtual sets. In fact, we can do pretty much everything you need from end to end, from camera to final output, including creative services to make great looking virtual sets for our customers. At NAB this year, we're taking things to the next level with Frontier, a brand new game engine based virtual set system. This is amazing. Now, game engines give us a bunch of advantages. One of them is real-time reflections, like what I see on the floor over here. Another, we got a particle engine. So we can do raindrops, like what we see on the windows back here. Really amazing. And we've got real-time shadows, like on the plant over there. That's just a few of the things that we can do. But the net result of all of these features is that we can produce much more realistic and compelling looking virtual environments. Way better for the people at home. Now, we haven't forgotten about broadcast graphics. In fact, Expression can drive directly into Frontier with great looking graphics like this. Twitter poll here that's data driven. And you can see that I've just taken the lead over Real Jeff in terms of popularity. Now, that's a quick overview of Frontier. We did this together with a partner called the Future Group in Norway. And the Future Group is bringing a new type of entertainment to the world. In fact, they've just launched their first franchise with the Discovery Network in Norway. And it's called Lost in Time. I'm going to leave you with this clip. Lost in Time uses Frontier technology, and you get an idea of what Frontier is really capable of. Let's have a look.
From the makers of the world's best live TV shows, Fremantle Media, and the Future Group, creators of interactive mixed reality, comes a TV show like no other. A TV game show that combines revolutionary gaming technology with the wonder and magic of Hollywood special effects. Lost in Time is thrilling and truly interactive. The next generation of family entertainment is here. With the potential to change the way we watch television forever.
So that's Frontier. It's really incredible. And tonight, I am pleased to announce our very first customer, TV2 East in Denmark. And this is Kasper Thor Larsen, head of technology for TV2. And here's what he had to say about Frontier. He said, "Frontier is the most realistic rendering I've ever seen for a VS." Now, Kasper's here tonight, sitting in the front row over here, and I'm sure he wouldn't mind talking to you about his plans for Frontier at our reception afterwards. So thanks, Kasper, for being one of our pioneering customers with new technology. Okay, so there's a glimpse. I hope you come by the show and have a look at what's new with Expression and with Frontier. We got a lot more to cover tonight, so I'm going to turn you back to David to take us forward. Come on up, Dave.
Right. Thank you, Jeff, and Virtual Jeff. So I thought I'd spend a little bit of time now talking about technology. And there's a number of tech topics going on in the industry right now. And certainly one of the big ones is IP versus SDI for video connectivity. Gotta say, at Ross, we see advantages for both of these. as you can see from what Jeff, and again, Virtual Jeff, were talking about with Expression and all the connectivity options. So let's talk about IP first. So there's lots of buzz going on, and Ross is definitely in the middle of it. We acquired Covelos last August. We've been busy. They're a video networking consulting company, and they have a goal of ensuring that Ross and others have access to core IP technology required to plug and play for all these different IP things, so that maybe ultimately, someday, we won't have to always be doing all the plug and play fests, and we'll just get it all together. So here's the Covelos roadmap. It parallels AIMS. So Covelos and Ross have been present at these plug fests, and most notably, we're driving towards SMPTE 2110 encapsulation, not just for us, but working with everyone, and having NMOS AS04 registration and discovery, which is required if you actually want to send the signals around. Now, Covelos is also very active at NAB. They're showing technology and interoperability on the Ross booth, on the IP Pavilion, at the Intel Altera booth, as well as Arista Networks and Evertz, and several more. So Covelos is in more places than you'd think, and we're showing a lot of things as well. So you gotta see that. Now, the first Ross product from this acquisition is Raptor Edge. It's our new SDI IP gateway. And Raptor is based on our new OpenGear platform card, which means it can do more someday. It has 6 bidirectional SDI to IP 3 gig channels, and it does SMPTE 22-6, SMPTE 2110, and of course NMOS AS04. And so you can think of this as your bridge from the SDI world to the IP world, and from IP islands to the SDI world. It's a converter. What can you do with Raptor? Well, like I was saying, it's an AIMS gateway. Plug and play with everybody that does stuff that matches what AIMS wants to do. And it ties into COTS routers as well, such as Arista, Cisco, and Evertz. It also ties into a whole bunch of new control systems, such as those done by Lavo and Evertz and Ross with Dashboard. And we're showing all of this on the show floor. But like I said, it's not just about IP for Ross. We're big believers in the future of SDI as well. So we've been leaders in 12 gig, in fact, for a very long time. We're one of the earliest pioneers. 12 gig is great for UHD on a single coax, and it gives the benefits of the simplicity of SDI extended all the way up compatibly to UHD. So this is very important for places like Korea and Japan, who are early UHD movers, and they have to get it on air now. But also, 12 gig is very important in the United States. In fact, a number of large mobile truck companies wrote an open letter urging manufacturers to make 12 gig connected gear. This is important, so I gotta read it to you. While the promise of IP for the transmission of 4K UHD TV will improve upon these limitations, it adds a layer of complexity that is unnecessary for many small to mid-sized productions, particularly those employing less than 16 cameras. 16 cameras, that's a big production. There's a whole bunch of productions that fall into this category, and they are definitely asking for 12 gig to be able to handle those things as well. So certainly if the customers are asking for it, they're gonna be coexisting for a long time. And Ross is doing something about this request. About a year and a half ago, we launched Ultrix. We call it a 12 gig router, but obviously it's very, very much more. So, who wants to save $100,000 on your next install? Anyone? Oh, I got one over there. Okay, he'll get the 100,000. Okay, so many customers have done exactly that with Ultrix. And let me show you how, okay? Because many designs have lots of parts hanging off of it. So you got your router, but you got audio embedders, you got MADI breakout for audio, you got audio disembedders, you've got multi-viewers and gearboxing and clean quiet switches and so on. Your router just is full of stuff all around it all the time when you're doing these designs. And when you put all that together in a traditional format, it looks like this. Don't laugh, this is what it all looks like right now. So you've got these huge routers that are way bigger than they need to be because they got all these connections in and out. And then you've got racks and racks of embedders and disembedders and processors and clean quiet switches, and then those are the smallest high density multi-viewers that we could find. We're not stretching this. This is the best design we could do. It's full of ROS, actually. So let's take a look what we did the same thing with Ultrix. We're not saying it's sort of like this, we're saying it's exactly like this. So what's the difference? Well, the first one is that's 54 rack units tall. This is only 2. This one is 600 pounds. That's 24. Important in trucks, maybe? Maybe that's one of the reasons they asked. 9 kilowatts of power on the left, 300 watts on the right. This is one of the worst ones, actually. 4,000 cables. You got to pay somebody to make 4,000 cables? That's not cheap, and it's complicated. 150 cables. This is what you can do with Ultrix. And we keep making Ultrix better. We added a clean, quiet audio switching at IBC. Now that's usually an expensive outboard unit to do that, and in Ultrix, we now have up to 72 of them, on top of all the multi-viewers, on top of all the embedders and disembedders and so forth. And we're pleased to announce at the show that Ultrix now ships with clean, quiet, and that entire audio fabric, which is like 1,536 squared audio, included in the base unit. Okay, we're competitive. We like to do these things. It's amazing extra value. Now on top of that, we're introducing Ultrix 2.0 software. And its focus was on multi-viewer enhancements, because Ultrix is not just a router, it's also an incredible multi-viewer. So we've added flexible layouts, more pip sizes, more multi-viewer setup and management software, new stuff. And that is all free to Ultrix owners who currently have the multi-viewer option, and of course people who buy it in the future. On top of this, you're not going to believe this, we now are showing UltraSync frame syncs in 2.0 as well, which is a 3 gig frame synchronizer option, licensable per input, assignable to any input, and up to 72 of them at once. And these aren't just little simple frame syncs. When you add frames and drop frames, you don't want to have audio pops, so it also includes sample rate conversion for the audio on top of that, so the audio smoothly follows the video. And I have to emphasize, all the things I've talked about in this 2RU box are all there at the same time. That's why I keep talking about this. This is an incredible box. All right, so that's Ultrix. It's a massive amount of infrastructure in a very small box. Now, moving on, would you like to see our next 12 gig product? Here it is, yeah, here it is, Carbonite Black Plus, 12 gig. So it's our newest Carbonite. What the heck, we just launched another new switcher right here. So it's a hybrid 12 gig, 3 gig HD I/O production switcher, and we expect this will be a huge hit with people who are doing 4K UHD work. So let's have a look at the features. It's in version 14 software, because this applies to all Carbonite Black customers today. So these are not HD features, these are UHD features in this switcher in the Carbonite Black series. So adding chroma keys and a 16-bit multi-viewer, 1080p up conversion in there. It has an ME and 2 mini-MEs, which makes it like a 3 ME production switcher in this little 2RU in UHD. But this special new box also has 12 gig SDI for its inputs, as well as square division to 2SI and 2SI to square division conversion. If you don't know what that is, on your next design, you're gonna find out and it will hurt. So you need those converters most of the time. All right, So that's Carbonite 12 gig. It's a UHD powerhouse, and I'd love to talk about it even more, but we have too much stuff. So next, I would like to invite Sean Snyder, who leads our Inception, Streamline, and Overdrive product families. Bring him up to the stage. Okay, Sean, and watch this. He's left-handed, so I have to hand it over this way.
Thanks, Dave. So last year, I had the distinct pleasure of standing on this very stage and announcing Inception Enterprise, which added limitless scale to our newsroom system, and Horizon, a way of connecting newsroom systems anywhere on the planet together. Tonight, I actually have a ton of new announcements, but I want to start with a success story. We recently launched Inception at the Cordillera Montana Television Station Group. We added 4 systems onto the one existing system they already had, bringing them to a total of 5 across the state of Montana. This was a great success for us, but more importantly, Cordillera is our first Horizon customer. Now, they can seamlessly share content across all their station groups, be it rundowns, blocks within rundowns, stories, assignments, whatever they want. They've been a wonderful partner in this process, and we're delighted to have them as part of our family. At NAB this year, we're showing off Inception version 11 for the very first time. I actually have too many features in it to cover, so I'm gonna focus on just 2. If you wanna see the rest, you're gonna have to come by the booth. First off, in version 11, we're introducing a new product called Inception Discovery. It's a new research platform built in partnership with our friends at X News. Inception Discovery allows your news teams to delve deeper into their stories, monitor news trends, and provides real-time research material back into the news environment. Our second announcement is a partnership with VSN and an integration with VSN's Explorer MAM with our Inception newsroom system. VSN actually built a native plugin into Inception using our SDK, which I also announced last year. And for the first time, we can now bring a full end-to-end news production workflow right into the news environment, including full timeline-based browser editing. So you can actually edit video right from within the news environment, all inside of a web browser. That's really cool. And it just shows what's possible with the SDK. Now, I wanted to save my biggest Inception announcement for last. It's actually something we envisioned when we first designed the product, but we actually held on to it and wanted to make sure that the timing and the technology was right for our launch. It's something a lot of you have asked for, or at least asked about, and as of today, it becomes a reality. I am delighted to announce the launch of Inception.Cloud, our fully managed, subscription-based newsroom and social media platform in the cloud. And I was very picky in my words there. I said launch. As of right now, the service is available. The entire Inception product line is now available in a monthly format. And for those looking to subscribe, there's no hardware for you to manage. All your upgrades are included, so long as you're active on your subscription. It's easy to get started, there's no commitment, and it's simple monthly pricing per user. And we're throwing in online training with every subscription. This is the first ever MOS-enabled newsroom in the cloud, and we're actually creating a connected ecosystem, allowing the cloud to communicate back into your production facility. But how are we doing that? How are we doing it securely? We've written an innovative piece of software called our ROS Cloud Gateway. It sits inside your facility, and it connects to all your in-studio devices using a traditional MOS connection. We can then translate that into an encrypted, secured, and authenticated tunnel out to the cloud. And we've introduced and created a mode called MOS Passive Mode, which means that gateway only ever reaches out, even for connections that need to come back in. So your IT group's gonna be happy because you don't have to open any inbound firewall ports. That's an innovation that's never been seen in our industry before. Inception, we've been doing a lot of work on it. There's a lot of excitement. I encourage you to come by the booth and check out everything new in version 11. But I actually have to move on to another huge product for ROS, Overdrive, the world's leading production control system, automated production control system. Now, a lot of you in this room have already seen the benefits of Overdrive. There are a lot of Overdrive customers I recognize in the audience. And more customers continue to do so. In fact, Overdrive sales were up 15% last year, and a lot of that growth came in markets like Asia and Europe. Overdrive continues to lead all automated production vendors in both number of installs worldwide and the complexity of the productions in which they're doing with APC. And we continue to push the technology forward. Last year, we launched Overdrive version 16, a release focused entirely on efficiency, offering features like multiple rundowns, allowing you to jump quickly between back-to-back shows, and introducing rundown search tools, allowing you to find content produced in one rundown and quickly reuse it for breaking news. Other features like Overdrive Quick Code are simply there to reduce the amount of time it takes you to code a show. Breaking news is just that much simpler with Overdrive. And we continue to lead the market in graphics integration with APC. With Overdrive, all of your shows can have the same production values as your flagship, regardless of whether it's at 6 p.m., 11 p.m., or 5 a.m. At NAB, we have a lot of new Overdrive features to share as well, but I really just want to focus on one, a feature designed for your talent to improve communication and support your on-air teams. Let me introduce you to Overdrive Floor Director. Floor Director is an all-new client for Overdrive, a fully customizable display for your studio talent, displaying your show timing, shot status, and production cues in one display. On the display behind me, you'll see just one example of a Floor Director layout. On this, we're seeing preview, multi-viewers, prepared and on-air shots, complete timing, and system status. Floor Director is all about improving communication within your studio, giving your talent the confidence to know what's coming up next and improve the pacing of your show. And ultimately, everything with Overdrive is to help you deliver a great production. On top of that, Floor Director is built on top of a brand new API for Overdrive that we're introducing at the show. Overdrive continues to lead the way forward in production automation. We actually have one more Overdrive announcement, and it's just one way that Overdrive and Acuity work better together. I'm gonna invite David back onto the stage to talk a little bit more about where we're going with Acuity. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. So, we are so excited to launch Inception as a cloud service. So as you can see, Ross is really strong in software and robotics and hardware. Okay, let's talk Acuity, our flagship large production switcher. There's tons of new things since the last time we were here, and again, I'll just have to focus on 4 big new things for the show. The first one is we have a new virtual panel. So Acuity joins Carbonite in offering full operation without a physical panel. That's great for automated environments, Sean, and particularly, this one's for you, CBC. You asked for it. Okay, another thing, number 2, 4K UHD Quad Link production software. So that makes Quad Link 4K work just like HD does. It's super easy, and early adopters are enjoying it right now. Interestingly, in that mode, Acuity is still a 4 ME switcher with 4 keyers per ME, and also now offers internal 4K up conversion for all of its HD sources. Really? When the guys actually told me that, I was like, really? They said, yeah, really cool. It also offers, again, just like Ultrix, the square division to 2SI conversion, this time on the multiprocessor input card of Acuity. So that really steps up Acuity's game. Now, number 3, another trend is high dynamic range. So we're starting to see HDR and TV and movie content. So Acuity's input proc amps add standard dynamic range to high dynamic range conversion for people who are using hybrid log gamma, also known as HLG. So we got the new sizes and resolutions, we got the new color spaces, it just keeps getting better. Another thing is Acuity's Aspen IP input card, which was a partnership with Evertz, is now shipping and deployed to customers. And also of interest, it's on Evertz's roadmap to SMPTE 2110, going inside of Acuity. So that's just a few of Acuity's highlights. Pretty cool, not bad. There's a bit of a competition between the Acuity guys and the Carbonite guys, if you didn't know that. Speaking of Carbonite guys, Carbonite Black Solo is a compact production switcher launched at NAB last year. We were really happy with the response to this product. I mean, really happy. And because of that, maybe, we have a present coming later in the year. Something that our engineers built into this product that we didn't tell anybody about, because we don't like vaporware. So would you like to know what that is? Let's roll the video. All right, so there we go. Later this year, the Solo's USB port will turn into a media player. So you simply load in an H.264 file from your computer and put it onto USB media, plug that into Solo, and play away. So the storage for that media, of course, is now only limited by the size of the flash on your USB stick or on the hard drive that you use. I just got to say, this is a big, big step up from RAM recorders, and I think it might shake things up a little bit more. And in the market space of our Solo customers, this is an even bigger deal. It's a big step up for what they can have. And don't forget as well, all Carbonite switchers ship with a basic version of Expression. You just get that for free as well. And that's why we're selling so many. So, yeah, it's getting late. As you know, we like to save the best stuff for last. So this is our one more thing moment. We want to really highlight these things. So it's a real game changer. We're going to show it to you now. It's in sports. Let's have a look.
Ready, one, take one. Ready, two, take two. Take one. Ready, three, take three. Oh, nice. Tell me you got that.
Got it. Come to goal.
Okay, we're gonna go to goal. Take two. Ready, gold. Effect to goal.
Silver for the react.
All right, so we have a new replay system. And let's talk about how it fits into the market. On one side are the high-end systems. Scalable, multi-user, lots of features, dedicated purpose-built hardware, traditional UIs, very traditional. Some even look like DOS. And our full Mira is in that category of capabilities, maybe a little bit less expensive, but it's up there. In fact, it feels like almost everybody is pushing up in that area. And then on the other side, we got the low end. They're easier to use, they're affordable, but notoriously unreliable. Ever hear the thing, it's reliable if you buy two? So that's the other end, right? I'm not making this stuff up. Mira Express is the best of both worlds. Reliable, purpose-built hardware, and easy to use and affordable. So let's take a look at the Mira Express. It's a new Mira, designed for the mid-market sports replay. It uses removable solid-state drives. That means at the end of your game, you can just take your highlights package and your show and walk away. That's important. 4 dedicated inputs, 2 dedicated outputs, mid-market, perfect, and uses DVC Pro HD codecs. It has an amazing price, just over $35K, and includes the control panel. This is a great solution for college and regional sports that have had to put up with inferior replay systems for far too long. So, in fact, when Abacus and Ross got together, this was the top topic of conversation. They wanted to do this, and they wanted to do it with Ross, and we wanted to do it too. So this is a big deal. So that's Mira Express, rock solid replay. It's amazing. There literally is nothing like this product. It's in a gap, it's a mile wide. So we had our one more thing moment. Guess what? There's one more thing. Kind of exciting. We've never done this before. So in this production, we've talked about a lot of incredible products and technology. How about tying a bunch of them together into one very exciting, slick system? Let's roll this video. Whoa. All all-in-ones have been limited by attempting everything in software. We've leveraged our software and our hardware expertise in producing graphite. So let's talk about the hardware part. All right, graphite contains a carbonate production switcher on a PCI card. This is really an amazing feat of technology and miniaturization. This card provides carbonate, audio mixing, and a graphics frame buffer. The PCI card has its own processor and runs its own embedded Linux operating system. That means that it maintains full switcher and audio even if you have to reboot the PC that it's in. So all of this I/O as well is on the end of the card, with Expression being the only computer source. It's got 13 inputs, 8 outputs, 2 full MEs with 4 keyers each, 4 mini MEs with 2 keyers each, It's like a 6ME production switcher, a real one. It's got two 16-window multi-viewers, and I might point out that they all move when they're turned on. That's a lot of features to pack onto this card. Graphite can have a softer panel or an optional control panel. And you can choose from any panel in the Carbonite Black series, from the very smallest to the very largest 3ME to handle all those MEs and mini-MEs. It's equipped with a real Expression Prime for real broadcast graphics. The ones we were showing you earlier with Jeff and Real Jeff, it's in there. Name another one that has that inside. Has all of our unlimited layer systems built right in. Graphite also includes 2 channels of expression clip playback and 1 channel of record. It's got a real clip player with all the remote control capabilities that a clip player normally has. And Graphite has Ross Rave audio, introducing Ross Rave. It offers a dedicated internal 24-bit, 29-channel audio mixer. It's fully featured. It's got gain, pan, mutes, solos, PFL, audio follow video, a lot of embedded audio disembedding stuff going on in there. Plus, it even has mix minus, which is kind of cool for your productions. Several aux outputs. Rave also offers an optional audio breakout panel right over there. So 8 mic or line inputs with phantom power, 5 analog outputs, and AES-IO. I really want to emphasize on this that the guys that designed this were not just engineers, not just audiophiles, they're actually musicians. And they really cared. They would not be denied in putting in a top quality system in for the Rave audio.